All right, let's dive into the incredibly rich world of English accents you'll find all across the British Isles. You know, we often think of it as just one language, but it really has countless different voices.
So that brings up a really big question, right? When someone says they heard a British accent, what do they actually mean? Is there even such a thing as one single British accent?
Well, the short answer is not really. As you can see from this map, the accent you hear can change in a huge way depending on where you are. When it comes to accents here, geography is key.
Okay, let's start our journey in the capital. London is a fantastic place to start because it's like a mini version of the whole country's accent diversity, all packed into one city. First up, we've got received pronunciation, or RP for short. Now, this one's interesting because it's not really tied to a place, but more to a person's social standing. It's what many people call BBC English, or even the Queen's English. Received pronunciation developed in England.
Received pronunciation phát triển ở Anh.
Then you have Cockney. This is the traditional voice of London's working-class East End. It's famous for things like rhyming slang and the glottal stop. That's when the T sound in the middle of a word, like in butter, just kind of disappears. Cockney is a traditional London dialect.
Cockney là một dialect truyền thống của London.
And floating somewhere in the middle of those two is estuary English. It basically cherry-picks features from both RP and Cockney, and you hear it all over the southeast of England now. Estuary English mixes features from different accents.
Okay, now let's zoom out from London to look at what is probably the single biggest linguistic divide in all of England, the famous North-South split.
And believe me, this isn't just a stereotype people talk about, it is a very real thing. You can actually see on phonological maps, just like this one, where the line is drawn between northern and southern ways of speaking.
So how does this actually sound? Well, here are two huge differences. In the South, the words cup and put have totally different vowel sounds. But up north, they sound the same. Then take a word like bath. Southerners say it with a long ah sound, while Northerners use a short, flat ah sound. These little vowels are actually massive signals of where you're from.
But it's not just about north versus south. There is an incredible amount of variation from town to town. So let's take a quick tour of a few other really distinct accents. Head up to the northeast around Newcastle and you'll find the Geordie accent. One really interesting thing about it is that unlike a lot of other regional accents, Geordie speakers almost always pronounce the H at the beginning of words like house. Now, let's pop over to Liverpool. The Scouse accent there has this really unique quality where certain vowels just blend together. For a Scouse speaker, the words fur and fair can end up sounding exactly the same. Down in the southwest, you'll hear the West Country accent. It's often rhotic, which just means they pronounce the R sound in words like car. And a really classic feature is how an S can turn into a Z sound, which is how you get the famous pronunciation of Somerset as Somerset.
So, what's the main thing to remember from all this? It's that diversity is the name of the game. There is no single correct British accent. Instead, there's this huge, beautiful variety that's been shaped by centuries of history, migration, and social class. In fact, regional variation remains strong in Britain. And, you know, the language never stands still. It's a living, breathing thing, and it's always changing right along with the people who speak it. A perfect modern-day example of this is Multicultural London English, or MLE. This is a pretty new accent that's come out of London's incredibly diverse communities. You can hear influences from all over, the Caribbean, West Africa, South Asia, all mixing together to create a brand new sound for the city.
And that just leaves us with a really fascinating thought to end on. As people and cultures continue to move and mix, what will the English language sound like in the future? The English of tomorrow might be completely different from what we know today.
This video is brought to you by the IELTS Focus, Zalo, 08477 705973, an English center specializing in IELTS preparation.